Our topic today is what happened to the four men with leprosy in the valley. Join me as we dive into the mysterious story of the four men with leprosy in the valley and try to uncover what really happened to them. The story of these four men is a fascinating one, set against the backdrops of ancient times, when diseases like leprosy were shrouded in mystery and fear. They lived in a valley, isolated from the rest of the society, their lives marked by pain, suffering, and rejection. Leprosy was also known as Hession's disease, which was feared and misunderstood condition, often associated with divine punishment. This made their lives even more unbearable, as they were not only physically afflicted but also socially ostracized. Their isolation was not just physical but also emotional. They had to live on the fringes of society, begging for food and shelter, often going hungry and homeless. The societal stigma was so strong that even their families and friends were forced to distance themselves, leaving these men utterly lonely. Their condition made them outcast, forced them to cover their faces and cry out unclean to warn others of their presence. It's like heart-wrenching to think about this kind of life they live, constantly shunned and feared by those they encounter. Before we continue our discussion, let us read 2 Kings chapter 7 from verse 3 to 20. 2 Kings chapter 7 from verse 3 to 20. Now, there were four men with leprosy at the entrance of the city gate. They said to each other, "Why stay here until we die? If we say we will go into the city, the famine is there, and we'll die. And if we stay here, we'll die. So let's go over to the camp of the Arameans and surrender. If they spare us, we live. If they kill us, then we die." At dusk, they got up and went to the camp of the Arameans. When they reached the edge of the camp, no one was there, for the Lord had caused the Arameans to hear the sound of chariots and horses and a great army. So they said to one another, "Look, the king of Israel has hired the Hittites and Egyptian kings to attack us." So they got up and fled in the dark and abandoned their tents and their horses and donkeys. They left the camp as it was and ran for their lives. The men who had leprosy reached the edge of the camp, entered one of the tents, ate and drank. Then they took silver and gold and clothes and went off and hid them. They returned and entered another tent and took some things from it and hid them also. Then they said to each other, "What we are doing is not right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves. If we wait until daylight, punishment would overtake us. Let's go at once and report this to the royal palace." So they went and called out to the city gatekeepers and told them, "We went into the Arameans' camp, and there was no one there, not a sound of anyone, only the tortured horse and donkeys, and the tents left just as they were." The gatekeeper shouted the news, and it was reported within the palace. The king got up in the night and said to his officers, "I will tell you what the Arameans have done to us. They know we are starving, so they have left the camp to hide in the countryside, thinking they will surely come out and then we'll overtake them alive and get into the city." One of his officers said, "Have some of the men take 5 of the horses that were left in the city. Their plight will be like that of all the Israelites left here. Yes, they will not only be like all these Israelites who are doomed. So let us send them out. So let us find out what happened." So they selected 2 chariots with their horses, and the king sent them after the Arameans army. He commanded the drivers, "Go and find out what has happened." They followed them as far as the Jordan, and they found the whole road shorn, and the clothes and the equipments of the Arameans had thrown away in their headlong flight. So the messengers returned and reported to the king. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of the Arameans. So a sheet of the finest flour sold for a shekel, and 2 sheets of barley sold for a shekel, as the Lord had said. Now the king had met the officer. On whose arm he had leaned in charge of the gate, and the people trampled him in the gateway, and he died, just as the man of God had foretold. When the king came down to to his house. It happened as the man of God had said to the king, about this time tomorrow, a sheet of finest flour will sell for a shekel, and 2 sheets of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria. The officer had said to the man of God, look, even if the Lord should open the floodgates of the heavens, could this happen? The man of God had replied, you will see it with your own eyes, but will not eat any of it. And this is exactly what happened, for the people trampled him in the gateway, and he died. Amen. Let's continue our conversation. Leprosy was a disease that inspired fear and revulsion. People believed it was contagious, and those afflicted were considered cursed. This fear led to segregation and mistreatment of those with this disease. The men in our story likely faced harsh realities daily, struggled to find food and shelter. Their existence was one of quiet desperation, always on the lookout for acceptance or a gleam of hope. The backstory of these men isn't well documented, but it's clear that they lived in a period where medical understanding was limited. The disease was often seen as a punishment from God, making their plight even more dire. They had to deal with not just the physical pain, but also the weight of societal judgment. Their lives were a constant struggle for survival and dignity in a world that seemed determined to deny them both. One day, these 4 men made a decision that would change their fate. Faced with starvation and despair, they decided to take a risk and approach the enemy's camp. Their reasoning was simple. If they stayed where they were, they would die. If they surrendered to the enemy, there was a chance that they might be spared. This decision wasn't made lightly. It took courage and a deep-seated desire to survive. As they made their way to the enemy's camp, they were met with unexpected sights. The camp was abandoned. The enemy had fled, leaving behind plenty of food and supplies. The men's decision made out of desperation had led to a place of abundance. This moment marked a turning point, not just in their lives, but also in how we can think about courage and destiny. The men's bravery in the face of uncertainty is a testament of human spirit. Their journey of isolation for abundance is nothing short of miraculous. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes taking risk and stepping into the unknown can lead to unexpected outcomes. This story teaches us about the importance of resilience and hope. The outcome of their choices had far-reaching implications, not just for themselves, but their community as well. By finding food and resources, they were able to survive and eventually share their discovery with others. This act of bravery and determination serves as a powerful example of how individuals can change their circumstance through courage and resilience. So, what can we learn from the story of these 4 men with leprosy? Their journey teaches us about compassion, acceptance, and the power of taking risks. It challenges us to reflect on our own attitudes towards those who are different or afflicted. If you've enjoyed if you have enjoyed this story, I did love to hear about your thoughts in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out my next video on historical figures who came out of incredible adversity to achieve greatness. It's an inspiring story that I think you really enjoy. God bless you.